So today I'm going to be opening a booster box of Chaos Rising, the brand new set that just dropped. And while I do that, I want to talk to you guys about something that's been on my mind for a while. Because this box right here is actually a pretty good example of the exact problem I want to discuss. Now, Perfect Order came out roughly 8 weeks ago, and it's still sitting on shelves, quietly, near retail price, some even lower, while the entire community has moved on to this one. 8 weeks. That's how long it takes for a brand new Pokemon TCG set to become yesterday's news. And what's worse is people are already talking about the next set, Pitch Black. So I want to talk about something that I think a lot of us feel but don't quite put into words. And it's this. The Pokemon TCG release schedule has gotten so fast that collectors are being asked to make financial decisions before they've even had time to think about the last one. Now let's just quickly run through the 2026 calendar, because I think it's genuinely relentless. Ascended Heroes dropped January 30th, and that was a massive set. Over 290 cards, new Mega Attack rares, Gengar EX and Trikachu crossing more than $1,000. People were really excited, and rightfully so. Then 8 weeks later, Perfect Order dropped, March 27th. A much smaller set with only 124 cards if I'm not mistaken, and a much quieter release. And within about 2 weeks of it hitting shelves, the community had largely already moved on. Not because it's entirely a bad set, I don't think it's that bad. Oh, Cinccino full art, nice. I don't have that one yet. But why is it so off-center? Anyway. But because Chaos Rising pre-orders were already live, Mega Greninja was already being discussed, and the next thing to be excited about already had a date. Then you have Chaos Rising, which dropped a few days ago. And Pitch Black follows in July. Then we've got the 30th anniversary set in October, which, by the way, people have already been speculating about for months. There are communities online right now dissecting a set that doesn't even exist yet, while the one that came out 2 months ago quietly gathers dust on a store shelf. Not to mention, Chaos Rising dropped the same time our Japanese Pitch Black dropped in the Japanese version as well. So I feel like the attention is pretty divided. Now that's more than 5 significant releases in under 10 months, and I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. Now, I'm not here to have a go at the Pokemon company. I think there's a real conversation to be had about how this pace affects collectors, and I think most of us, if we're honest, have felt the effect of it. Let's go back to Ascended Heroes for a quick second. Ascended Heroes generated some of the most intense demand the Mega Evolution era had seen. With Gengar, Pikachu, the Dragonite as massive chase cards, the ETBs were really difficult to get. The secondary market prices were elevated as well, especially the booster bundles. That one was, I don't like using the S word, but it was scalped to oblivion. The original Mega Evolution base set, released back in late 2025, was the number one topic of conversation at launch. But by Feb of this year, it dropped to about the 7th place on TCG Player's best-selling list, 7th. Just a few months after it debuted. And I don't think it's entirely out of print either. It's not forgotten by everyone, but it's no longer the thing that people are talking about. Even Phantasmal Flames, I think you don't see that many people talking about it anymore. Now, TCG Player's own data puts it plainly. The sets that hold long-term attention, namely 151, Evolving Skies, Prismatic Evolutions, they're all character-driven. They're all built around something collectors genuinely love and keep coming back to. The sets that fade the fastest are the ones that rode the launch at hype without that deep emotional anchor. And this is what the financial cost for an average collector looks like. If you're chasing each set at launch, buying ETBs, booster boxes, booster bundles, whatever it is, in the first week, or pre-ordering, you're pretty much paying the highest price for that product that may frequently settle lower just weeks later. And Perfect Order is the perfect example. I think even Chaos Rising is starting to see kind of the same effect as well, even with Mega Greninja being the big chase that everyone was so hyped up. And I want to be fair here. There's something a little ironic about me sitting here opening a Chaos Rising booster box while making this argument. Because I bought this box and I wanted to open it. And I think that's actually kind of the point. Enjoying a new set isn't the problem. The problem is the pressure to enjoy every set immediately, every few weeks. But I also want to be fair as well, because that's what the Pokemon company is doing. It's not wrong. It's a business, and frequent releases serve a real purpose. New sets bring competitive cards into the game. They drive foot traffic to local game stores, which are a huge part of this hobby for it to stay healthy. They also keep the franchise visible and culturally relevant. And honestly, a lot of these sets are genuinely good. Chaos Rising has some stunning artwork. I mean, look at some of the cards that I've pulled as well. Perfect Order cards, I'd also happily put in a binder, which I have. But the pace also reflects demand. The Pokemon TCG grew enormously through 2020 and 2021. The Pokemon company has scaled up to meet a much larger global audience as well. More collectors equals more product. That's not unreasonable. But here's the thing, and this is the part I think I get lost. The release schedule is designed for the system, not really for the individual collector. It's designed to keep the franchise moving, to fill retail shelves, to support competitive scenes. It is not designed around giving you enough time to research a set, decide whether it fits your collection, budget accordingly, and then actually enjoying opening it before the next thing is being announced. The gap between what the release schedule needs and what the collector needs is where I think a lot of us are quietly burning out. Personally, myself, I was looking forward to Chaos Rising just even when Perfect Order just released. So let me be specific about what I mean by cost, because it's not really just a monetary value thing, although it is partly that. If you bought into every major 2026 release at or near launch, for example, Ascended Heroes, Perfect Order, Chaos Rising, Pitch Black, you're looking at a significant chunk of budget committed before the year is even close to over. And that's before the 30th anniversary set lands in October, which, by all accounts, is going to be the most collector targeted release in years, especially for, the Seagulls as well. If you've already stretched across 4 sets, how much runway do you have left for the one that might actually matter most for long-term value? And that's the budget cost. But there's also the enjoyment cost, which I think matters just as much. When was the last time you actually sat down with a set, went through the entire card list, figured out your favorite artwork, hunted down the 2 or 3 singles that genuinely appeal to you and that you enjoy? Or do you just rip some packs at launch, check what you pulled against the tier list, and then notice that 2 weeks later everyone online had already moved on, and somehow you felt like you should? I talk to a lot of people who describe a vague feeling of always being behind, always feeling like they missed something, or bought the wrong thing, or should have waited. And I genuinely think a significant part of that is the release pace creating a state of permanent mild FOMO. The feeling that the next set is always going to be more important than the one you're currently holding. What is the next Prismatic? What is the next Evolving Skies? What is the next Ascended Heroes? The digital game has the same problem. In Pokemon TCG Pocket, sets are releasing so fast that even people playing every single day, both free daily packs, can't complete a single base set before the next expansion drops, and that's including myself. That's a structural feature, not a design flaw. It's built to keep you engaged and spending. The physical TCG isn't quite the same, but the psychology is closer than most people realize. So what do I actually think you should do with all of this? And look, I'll say it again. Opening this Chaos Rising booster box today was something I genuinely wanted to do. This isn't me telling you to never buy a new set. It's me saying, choose which ones you actually want and ignore the rest. My verdict is actually very simple. Slow down and choose fewer sets deliberately. You do not need to have everything. And I will repeat that, even for myself. You do not need to have everything. Not every set deserves your money. Not every set deserves your attention. And the fact that something is available to pre-order right now doesn't mean you have to commit to it. It also doesn't mean that it's a bad set and no one wants it. If you like the artwork and if you like the cards or the characters, I would say go for it. Here's the framework I suggest thinking about. Before you buy into a new release, ask yourself 3 questions. Question number 1. Does this set have a character or theme I genuinely care about? Not, is it hyped on YouTube? Is it got $1,000 cards? Or does it have a card that everyone wants? Whether the chase card is worth the money or not, or how much money you can get reselling it at, whatever the price is. Does it actually connect to something in the hobby that matters to you? Sets built around things collectors love hold their value and their meaning long after the hype dies. Sets built purely on hype tend to fade. The second point, can I afford this without compromising my ability to buy the release I'm most excited about later in the year? Look, if you're an average person with a limited amount of budget, you can't spend it on everything. So we have to think about what we can afford at the time, and we cannot be pressured into buying everything just to keep up with the market. And the 30th anniversary set is probably a good example. If you're spending everything on Chaos Rising and Pitch Black, you may not have the budget to enter the anniversary set at a reasonable price. And that's the release with the strongest long-term collector case. That's the one that I think most people are probably going to go for this year. The third point, am I buying because I actually want this, or because I feel like I'll miss out if I don't? Now, FOMO, as I said many times in this video, is not a collecting strategy. It's just expensive anxiety. For Australian collectors specifically, there's actually an underrated advantage to the delay we often experience in getting new releases. By the time a set lands here at retail price, the global hype cycle has already given us a week or 2 of real-world data. Partly because in parts of like Europe and America, they get it before here. You can see what the chase cards are actually selling for after the dust settles. Rather than making decisions at the peak of launch excitement, the delay often feels frustrating, can actually work in your favor. Collectors who tend to look back on their purchases most happily are the ones who pick their sets, committed to them with an intention, and ignore the noise around everything else. That's not a guarantee of financial return, but it's a much more enjoyable way to be in this hobby. The satisfaction you get from chasing that card and completing something that you've been working on is a much better feeling, and I guarantee it. And I genuinely like to know, which 2026 set are you actually most excited about? Not the one you feel like you should be excited about, the one that actually means something to you. And I can say for me, it's Chaos Rising because I'm a massive fan of Greninja, and that's it. So thanks everyone for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Also, why are all my cards so off-centered? Is it just me, or do you guys have the same thing? Anyway,